Hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950. The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
We are your relatives,
we are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters,
and some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time. Time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor,
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend Bob Blake, the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports. Great to see you, Bob. I'm out here in Portland, and I see you're out in your whip. That's rock and roll. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Robert. Lots going on in the news right now. Robert, there's been, I believe, a couple of 100,000, 220,000 foreclosures happening across the country right now. Utility bills are up like 15%. People are falling behind on their bills. Repossessions of cars are happening. This Trump economy, this is really hurting the average American. And I think, what we're really going to see is, the country realize that this economy is not working for them, and it's working for, the billionaire class, because those are the ones that are going to have all the tax cuts. And so I'm just really concerned with how all these foreclosures are happening and what's really going to happen around the housing market, especially when this is such a huge part of the American economy.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because, we talk about, my loathing Alex Rodriguez, the owner of the Timberwolves now, or part owner, and how he brags about how he owns thousands and thousands of doorknobs, meaning he owns houses, and that's raised what the beginning houses are. They're $100,000 more than they were just 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so they're driving up the price, and people, it's not affordable for people. And then plus now we have this on again, off again war that Trump started because of the Epstein files. Gasoline again is up to $4 a gallon.
Yeah, Robert. And, when you look at what, these corporate landlords like BlackRock, for instance, who is a private equity firm, what they do is they purchase these single family homes, and just like you as a homeowner, through appreciation and depreciation of the property, they write that off, and they bring that back to their shareholders, right? Who then has those profits, and they continue to buy more and more of these single family homes. And, and that's what Alex Rodriguez is a part of. But I think the bigger part about this is how they artificially drive up the price of neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're essentially controlling the market. I've talked to real estate agents. They said that they are literally bidding against computers. Like, computers are like are the ones that are putting in these bids for these homes. And I just don't think it's fair. And I know that the Senate made a new bill saying that apparently, like, this can't happen. The president won't sign it, though, Robert. The president won't sign this bill. So, everyone, I hate to say it, but, I don't know if it's necessarily market conditions that are putting you in this financial position. Rather, it's this president that is putting you, and this administration, and I'll just be honest with you, the Republican Party, who is putting Americans in this horrible financial position right now. And let's not forget, Robert, the cuts that are going to come to the cuts are really going to hit hard in October, when the new federal budget starts. And so we're really going to see some bad things across the country right now.
Well, Bob, I think you probably know this, so that he didn't need to sign that bill. After 15 days, it became law. But still, an amazing bill that was bipartisan that he refused to sign because he wants to he wants the federal government to control all the elections with his Save Act.
Right. And okay, so that's great. I mean, and that's we need more of the Republicans joining the Democrats right now to push back on this administration, this president's agenda, because it's just really hurting Americans. The other part about this too, Robert, is there are cities now that are having a hard time meeting their water needs for their communities. Corpus Christi, Texas, out on the western part of the United States, the Hoover Dam now from Lake Mead is literally like going below levels that they've never seen before. And so, Robert, I think if these you're going to have like cities that are ghost cities because they don't have any water supply. And what I'm thinking is that these corporations, like we talked about in the beginning of this program, they're going to try and artificially buy up all these homes, price out regular families, and as people start maybe migrating towards the Midwest, I'm just saying, I just think that more and more people are going to be priced out of neighborhoods because these factors are taking place across the country.
Right. Well, and then we're talking about all the flooding and the fires. It's brimstone. I mean, we got Texas with unbelievable amount of rain, and then of course the fires up north that we have never seen before until just recently. And there's so many people out there that are climate deniers, and it's right here, right in front of us.
And let's not forget that this administration, this president, cut funding to all of these job producing, fighting the climate opportunities this country and all these organizations, tribal nations, Solar for All, you name it. He cut all of those programs. They would have been producing jobs right now. This economy would have been humming along right now if it wasn't for this president and this administration and the Republican agenda. And I'm just telling everybody out there, get out and vote this November. Get these people out of power. They are ruining this country.
And every election matters, Bob, and we've talked about that for years here on Native Roots Radio, you and I. There's, just a few votes in the state Senate could just collapse many things, whether it's the laws that protect states, because states, make laws and the federal government has to really follow them. And we're seeing with Trump that they're just doing the opposite. They want the federal government to take over, and that really means Trump taking over, whether it's the elections, 2020 when he lost all those lawsuits, for pretending that he lost the election, and there was stopgaps, but we really need to talk about that and talk about Indian country and how important it is for our relatives to vote and to get out there. It's really do or die right now. Hey, we're with Bob Blake. It's Solar Bear with the Solar News, and we're going to take a quick break. This is Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time. Time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio. I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we are here with Bob Blake, the Solar Bear with the Solar News. Bob, we can mix a little politics and sports here. What a cluster this weekend with the World Soccer Tournament and Trump trying to really take the shine and head it his way.
Yeah, I know. That was great, Robert. There was a couple of the players from Spain that wouldn't shake his hand. And they gave him the peace sign, which I thought was hilarious. And this is actually possibly, more than likely, Lionel Messi's last World Cup. Argentina was trying to repeat back to back. And I was kind of pulling for them just because it hasn't happened since like 1960. But, Spain won. They literally only let like 2 or 3 goals in, 2 goals maybe, 2 or 3 goals the entire World Cup, which is like unheard of. The goalie was playing like lights out of his mind to get the Spain team there to the championship, and of course they won. So that was really cool. And so I'm really happy for Spain. I'm glad they won. I got really into the World Cup. I didn't realize I liked soccer that much until I started watching this. So it was really exciting and really happy for the fans that came here from around the world and visited and got to see America. This isn't our best right now, but we did a pretty good job, I think. I think America did a great job in hosting the World Cup. And I'm just really happy that it all worked out for everybody. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, though, that they kind of snubbed the president, though. And they were booing him, Robert. They were booing him there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and just to jump on what you had to say about all the people from other countries realizing that America and Americans isn't the government. And I think that was a pleasant surprise for them that we're really nice people here and we're not like the orange one. But did you see how he tried to get in the picture and shake hands and hold the trophy? He got photoshopped out.
I know. And I believe the World Cup president was trying to usher him away. and he wouldn't leave the stage. It's just typical Trump, so embarrassing. I just don't know how anyone can think that this guy is a great reflection of our country right now. But
Well,
yeah, but it was really cool to see all the people, like the stars that came out to watch the World Cup, all the celebrities, and it was really funny because the commentators that were, ex like World Cup soccer players, they're not in tune with like our celebrities and who they are, and so they would pan the camera right to these celebrities, and and these commentators had no idea who these celebrities were, like Matt Damon, Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And it was so hilarious that the commentators had no idea who these celebrities were. It was pretty cool too.
yeah, that is cool. I'm glad you got into it. I'm old enough to remember the Minnesota Kicks, and that was just one big party. I got to see Pele, who was the greatest soccer player at the time ever, play for the New York Cosmos back in the 70s. It was crazy.
Tino Lettieri. Tino Lettieri was the
Yeah,
big Minnesota Kicks guy, right?
yeah.
And interesting enough, Robert, his son, like, I think is playing like pro hockey now or something. Like he went to Minnetonka, yeah, went to Minnetonka and is like, playing. He played for the Gophers. I think he got drafted. So, um, really good. And I want to say that Tino Lettieri married Lou Nanny's daughter or something like that. So it's like there's this big hockey connection there, though.
That's awesome. Hey, so I see, and maybe the people watching us, and I do have to mention that too, that we're on social media. We're live, and you can see Bob, and he's wearing his swag. What's going on with Solar Bear? And you're busy as ever. And do you have any updates about what's going on climate-wise or anything?
Yeah, Robert, lots happening around data centers. And Sunrun, which is a company that does batteries and solar, are actually paying for customers to have solar and batteries put into their home. And what they're going to do is they're going to aggregate that power, and they're going to use it towards the data centers, because these data centers are just so energy intensive. So they're going to spread out essentially the pain, by trying to like get customers or get homeowners to take batteries and solar on their home, and then have that power redistributed into the grid, where then they could use that power to use for their data center. So interesting. It's a very interesting concept. I kind of like the fact that we're putting more solar and more batteries on the grid. The only part I don't like about it is that it's going to the consumption of these data centers. So, I think we're really going to have to watch this. I'm really skeptical, Robert, on the data centers. I really feel like they're just at a time when we're running out of water. Our energy needs are just getting more and more complex. Is this a good use of our resources? Is really my question. And so there's a lot of talk of data centers being introduced into tribal country. A lot of data center developers are approaching tribal country and basically telling them that, if you guys host this data center here, you're going to create all these jobs and all these opportunities for your community. It's the old workforce development argument, Robert, that
Oh
they're
God.
doing. It's a tale as old as time. But this is what they're promising these tribal communities. And I would just say to all tribal communities, I'm in no position to tell you what to do, but I will say that tread water lightly, because, these things are super intensive of water and natural resources, energy. And I just don't know if it's going to be good for your community. They're saying too, Robert, that the sound, the vibrations of these data centers are so intrusive that animals and other livestock, and other, wild animals are being affected negatively by the humming of these data centers, and people are experiencing health problems too. So, tribal nations, please be careful of this. I don't think it's worth it, honestly, Robert.
Well, I also saw an aerial picture of where they put a data center, and not only around it, it like looked like all the leaves and trees died too. So I don't know if that has to do with the vibrations or just what they're doing to the toxicity outside the buildings leaking out. But that was pretty mind blowing. I put that up on my space pages, Facebook. I just was like, are you kidding me? And so these data centers, and I'm glad you mentioned water, because that's the big thing too, not just electricity. They can, maybe figure out the electricity angle, but the water, right?
Yeah, and the other part about this is too, Robert, is apparently that water, there are like secret agreements that these companies are signing with the local municipalities. I think the Hermantown data center people had to sign these agreements, but that water cannot be reused because it's got all kinds of toxins, because it flows through all these like chips of like computers and whatnot, and it's just very toxic. You can't reuse the water. So are we going to have like these big pools of like water now that then can break? Because we saw this with mining companies. Mining
Right.
companies say all the time that the toxic sludge in the water is not going to break. It's not going to flow down into the reservoirs or to the aquifers, and yet it does. So, and then now you have like, all this toxic water now. When we are in we are probably we're heading towards a hotter, drier climate, everyone. We need to think about this. And I just don't know if it's worth it, Robert.
Yeah, I agree so much. It's just these things coming in, and really water is life. And it's crazy because, when you were talking about what happens to the water and how toxic it gets, I was just thinking, back in the day when we were really pushing no nukes, and, Prairie Island has that nuclear power plant right by them. And what are they doing with all that contaminated water? And here we go. Here's another situation like that.
Absolutely, Robert. And I really firmly believe that there needs to be a moratorium on this. I think there needs to be new studies. There is a race to get this stuff done because there's these tax incentives that the Trump administration has put in place. So a lot of these data center builders are like trying to recoup these tax credits. So essentially, everybody, you, the ratepayer, the taxpayer, the American citizen, is paying for these data centers.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back with Bob Blake, Solar Bear with the Solar News. You're listening to Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
When we heal from our traumas.
When we face our fears.
Let go of our addictions.
When we relearn our values.
When we live our teachings.
Respecting our elders.
Cherishing and honoring our children.
When we honor and take care of our spirit.
There will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. There's a lot happening in July. It's America's 250th birthday. Aquatennial is also coming to Minneapolis later this month. You've also got beach days, fishing days, time spent on the playground with the kids. So what are you coming home to at night in terms of your carpet cleanliness? If the answer to that is questionable or worse, then you need my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come help get things in order this summer. If your carpet's looking more like a snowbank in late March, muddy, crunchy, and kind of mysterious, it's time to call Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $139 and get your air ducts cleaned starting at $599 per unit. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and say you want the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Hey, we are here with our friend Bob Blake with Solar Bear with the Solar News. Bob, you've been doing such great work all these years with the solar and really speaking to tribes and keeping the tribes, at the table. And I really appreciate you and appreciate you coming on and having some fun with us and also talking seriously about what's going on. We'll talk a little bit of Solar Bear with the Solar Sports here in just a minute, but I just wanted to finish up our little talk about the amazing thing with these data centers. And, doesn't Google already have a data center in Eagan or in Eagan, Minnesota? Or do they? Because when you use Google, it's like using AI too.
Yeah, so I know that the city of Eagan also paused like some type of construction on data centers. I know they were looking at downtown Minneapolis. Minneapolis put a pause on them. And then I know there was that one going out towards Prairie Island that they were Meta was building that. But I just tell you, Robert, the only thing I worry about is our water, and you need water to survive. And that's the big part I think everyone needs to understand is like our natural resources are not finite, they're not forever. And so we really need to take care of what we have now. And, when I talk about solar panels over, crops, agrivoltaics, it's not that I want to take away cropland. It's the fact that I want to be able to also, the retention of the water in the groundwater. And so that's really important because what happens is the sun and the extreme heat from climate change, the climate crisis draws out and sucks that all up. And then it carries it like a big lake in the sky and dumps it in like Texas. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and that's what's happening right now, everyone. And so how do we like start working with the materials that we have so we can, effectively, retain our groundwater supply and take care of it, and giving it all to data centers, I'm telling you, Robert, is the wrong thing to do.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And I just want to touch base too on something you said. We dealt with this with Line 3 when it came to talking to the tribes up north and getting jobs for people and economic development. And people that were putting together that pipeline came from all over the country. And then the people that lived up north in northern Minnesota, those people got $20 an hour jobs holding stop signs on the road, and there was no health care. It was just ridiculous and BS.
And Robert, this is the attack. I'm sorry, everybody, but this is the attack from the rich on the poor. That's what this is. This is a class war that's being waged right now. And unfortunately, our politicians are trying to turn it into a culture war. And this is it's the old saying, money will make you do things you don't want to do. And that's really what's happening here, Robert. And I just want everyone to understand what's being sold to you, because we all want what's best for our communities. We all want what's best for everyone. And so I would strongly encourage everyone not to fall for the culture war argument. Go for it. Go for the fact that you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your groceries, and this is what the Democrats really got to focus on this next election, is that argument around finances. And if they do that, Robert, it's going to be a clear sweep across the board.
Well, and hopefully when they do sweep, that we can really get some laws in there to really protect the American people. And that's the thing that it's just always so bizarre. The Republicans mess everything up, and then the Democrats come in and fix it, whether it's the economy or whatever. And then the Republicans, come back and, mess it up again. And it's just an amazing cycle that people don't give the Democrats long enough time to fix everything. And of course, there's these midterm elections that turn sideways on us, and it's just hopefully that's going to change and people are more awake of what's going on.
Well, yeah, Robert. I mean, it's the whole thing about this country. Never faced the original sin, right? Slavery, the genocide of Native people, right? We've never faced that head on. Germany has done that with the Holocaust. The other part about this is, they're always playing the culture war, right? They're always playing that. And, let's be honest, the rich have been doing this to the poor for centuries. And so we gotta all come together, realize that the chips are with the rich. They have it. And the perfect example of this is Mackenzie Scott, who has given away billions of dollars. And she's now richer more than she was when she started. And
Yeah.
she's given more money away to causes across the country than any other rich person has done in the history of mankind. And she's got more money now than when she started, Robert.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. You'll have to explain that one to me. How does that work?
Well, it's called compound interest. And when you got billions of dollars into the stock market, you're gonna make more and more money. And that's exactly what's happening. And the stock market is at all-time highs. And she
Mm-hmm.
just keeps on giving away the money across the country. She's giving away more money than any other rich person has. And literally she's got more money than what she started with. So I mean, I'm just saying this is the problem. And so when they say that you can't tax the rich, and we're getting trillionaires now, people, wake up. Wake up.
Right. Well, and the whole attack on my lifetime in the 70s, 75% or 70% of the people were in unions. And then when Ronnie Reagan came in and busted all the unions, now it's less than 25% of the people. That's what happened to the middle income and the middle class.
Well, I would also say, too, that was also the time that the Republicans stopped, wanting to put money into education. So if you can dumb down the public, well, there you go. They don't know how to vote. If you can go ahead, they don't know how to make good decisions for themselves. If you can go ahead and put out the propaganda, that's when they got rid of the Truth Act. That's when Rupert Murdoch formed Fox News, filled the airwaves with nonsense and lies. And this has all been by design, everybody. And I'm telling you, it is really a fight for our democracy and for the United States of America this November.
Absolutely. I'm glad we're talking about this, Bob. Hey, we got a few more minutes here, and I know I just want to give a shout out to our Wisconsin people because we got a big audience out there in Wisconsin. The Brewers are doing great. This is the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports. I just want to give them a big shout out, and I want to get down there and watch a game in Milwaukee, and and then our Twins are faltering a little bit. But what else do you got for us, Bob? Because I know you keep track of all the sports.
Well, the LeBron watch is still happening. LeBron James has not picked a team to go to yet. They're saying that he's got a good opportunity with the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves have got a good team. I think they can make a run at the championship again. If they had LeBron, I think they would get the championship. So that's going to be interesting to watch. They still have a lot of money. I think 30 million or something they can spend. So, we'll see what happens there. Minnesota Twins, like you said, are faltering. But there's still a couple games out of first. So I'll take it. It's after the All-Star break. I did see Joe Ryan pitch in the All-Star game. That was really cool. Love seeing the Minnesota Twins in the All-Star game. Minnesota Vikings, Kyler Murray, says he needs more reps if he's going to be the starting quarterback. I tend to agree with him. Let's just focus in on our starting quarterback right now. And then the Minnesota Lynx they're on top of the WNBA. They are winning. Olivia Miles is probably going to get the Rookie of the Year MVP, or Rookie of the Year, and possibly get the MVP, Robert. So this is just a super exciting time for Minnesota sports. And that's the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports.
Well, I want to jump back to the Lynx, and it's going to be Native American Heritage Night. I think it's the 28th. And so we'll be knocking on your door at your suite there, Bob, and let us in this time at the Lynx. And then also, I think Joe Ryan had some kind of record yesterday of giving up the most home runs or something unbelievable. So we have to pray for our Minnesota Twins to keep winning and keep pushing.
Well, I think the only way the Twins are going to, be a contender is if the ownership spends some money. So that's something that's up in the air right now, but they have been amazing. They have played small ball. They have played money ball. They got the money, Robert. I'd like to see them spend some dollars and bring in some relief pitching for those guys, because that's really what they need.
Hey, so we're ending up right now, and how can people keep track of what you're doing? And give me your website and your social media out there, because I know people have been asking about, hey, how do I keep track other than the once a week that Bob's on your radio show? How do I keep track of Solar Bear?
Yeah, solarbear.earth and nativesun.org. Go to our websites. You'll see what's happening. We're expanding the Electric Nation across the country, connecting tribal nations with EV charging stations. And Solar Bear is still building solar projects across Turtle Island. So really excited and really happy. And thank you for all your support, everyone. Miigwech.
Well, thanks, Bob. Again, give me the last call there. It's the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports. Let's hear it.
That's the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Hey, up next, Miisko and I will be talking about her journey yesterday at First Avenue. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be back right after this short break. Thanks, Bob.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Tiergan.
And I'm Hadley.
We're two of the very first listeners, and we're
still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back. This is Native Roots Radio, and it was great to hear from Bob Blake from Red Lake, the Solar Bear with the Solar News. And now we're going to talk to the producer, our friend Miisko here. And Miisko, you had an adventure yesterday. I'd love for you to talk to the audience about your experience at First Avenue. And again, thank you for everything you do for Native Roots Radio and the community. And great to have you on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miisko. I guess being here working for Native Roots Radio, I'm getting more involved or just interested in learning about what's happening in politics and kind of just overall like what's happening in the United States and in Minnesota. So yeah, I went to First Avenue yesterday for the Many Over the Money rally, and that was very interesting. It was my first time actually in First Avenue, so that was nice. Yeah, and then just hearing like Bernie speak for the first time in person, I think that was really interesting. I liked it, and I had a good time. I went by myself. I was nervous. I get nervous to go downtown because I'm a young lady. But once I was in there, I felt fine, and then just had to go to my car, and I felt great like afterwards, and I feel more informed and kind of learned about what's going on nowadays.
Yeah, there was a lot of speakers there. I wasn't able to hear them all, but I think we got some clips that we can play later on this week or early next week. Interesting, Keith Ellison spoke. There was a band. Also, Ilham Omar was there, and Bernie, and then, of course, the lieutenant governor that was there. And it looked like it was jam-packed.
Oh, yeah, it was. I did not find a seat, but like I said, I really enjoyed what I was hearing. I know throughout the rally, they focused on issues including the rising cost of living, access to health care, workers' rights, protecting Social Security and Medicare for families and for the working class, and then the influence of wealthy donors and large corporations in politics. And, I don't know, being my age, it's like I don't hear about like all of this that's going on, but I do feel the effects of it happening. And before when I was younger, I would be like, oh, it doesn't matter if I vote because, my whatever I think isn't going to change anything. I'm just one person. But when you're in a room full of people who, view the same way, and then just hearing about how like you as one person can influence other people in your life. I want to tell my younger brother, he's 19 now and he wasn't able to vote, during the last election, but now he is old enough to vote. And so just kind of informing myself and then bringing the rest of my family along and just saying like, hey, like, even if you don't think it's important to me, and this is why you should do it. And hopefully, I can get them out to the polls with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we find out that sometimes 60 votes makes a difference, and then it changes law. It changes laws, and so one vote really, really makes a difference. And I'm glad you're seeing that and you're hearing that and speaking your truth, because that's one of the things we really try to get over here is to vote, vote, vote. And I don't know if you know this. We talk about it a lot here, but I know a couple cycles ago, the 2020 election, make voting a tradition and rock the vote Native style up north, registered 9,000 Native Americans that had never voted before. And that's huge. And that made a big difference in the election. For Walls, won by roughly that. So we may be small, but we are mighty, and we do make a difference in a lot of elections, Miisko, all over the country.
Oh yeah, I know that's true. And I think one thing, especially as natives, we're like, I feel like America happened to Turtle Island, and we're resisting, and we're always using our voices and our heritage to stay strong within ourselves. But we do live in this economy. We're in this current day, and again, I always say we have to learn how to live in two worlds, and two things can be true at once. You can be traditional, but also you can stand up for your rights and stand up for what you believe in, in the Western way. And I think voting is just one of those things that we need more education on, and so that we can get, more Native Americans in legislature, making laws and representing us in higher levels of power. Like Arvina said before, just being on the school board, or, trying to have a Native person run for higher positions of power. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot, Miisko. I'm glad you brought that up, because there was such a big difference between my experience with Native knowledge in Wisconsin than in Minnesota, because we had all these lawmakers that were Native American that were educating our allies. And we don't have any in Wisconsin, and we do and so we really need to get the young ones out there like yourself and people your age to really get involved in politics as Native people. And we really need to get our Native people to run. And Mary Kunesh, the state senator here in Minnesota, does a great job, but she's all by herself when it comes to being a Native state senator here in Minnesota. So we just need more people to step up, and we're going to support them, and it'll make a big difference for us as Natives to have a voice, and that's really important. And that's probably a lot why you don't understand. I don't mean understand, but aren't into politics, because it's really not out there. They make it really confusing. They let lies go through, so you don't know who's telling the truth. So it can be exhausting. So I'm glad you're learning from our guests here on Native Roots Radio, but it still is exhausting. It's a lot to learn and a lot to hear every day what the federal government's doing to us, and then the lies that come through the state government officials. And it's just a lot. I can't imagine how you're feeling, really.
Yeah, and I think one thing we need to remember that it was just barely over 100 years ago where we got as Native Americans the right to vote. I'm going to read something. I think it's from the Native American Rights Fund really quick. It says, for most Americans, the right to vote is guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. However, the federal government denied Native American voting rights until 1924. And right now it's 2026, so that was 102 years ago that we got the right to vote. And some states waited until the 1960s to extend this vital right. Native Americans still face discriminatory laws and unreasonable burdens trying to exercise the right to vote. And that's something that we've heard talked about before, was being intimidated going into, the polls, not having access to go to the polls. And that's why we're grateful for, Make Voting a Tradition and these other, groups that bring natives to the polls and try to educate on how important this is for us.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Thanks for bringing that up and reading that. I always talk about the Freedom Religion Act that happened in 1978. I was a junior in high school, so that isn't ancient history either. That we could do our own religion in this country. There's a lot of things that people don't know and understand, and whenever we tell people that, they're really blown away by that fact that until 1978 we couldn't freely do our own religion.
Yeah, and it's ironic that, religion's the reason why, people wanted to do westward expansion, but here we are. We are still holding on to our language. We're still holding on to our culture. As you always say, we're still here. I'm here, you're here, and I'm just grateful to have a voice and to be able to learn our history, to be able to pass it on to the next generation.
Wow, we're going to end it like that. Big Pinigigi Miisko, you've been listening to Native Roots Radio, and that was Miisko, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see ya.